Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today we are in my kitchen because we're going to be doing a little fun scientific experiment. I am routinely asked what is the best eyeliner, and I feel like I have 10 that I could easily recommend that work phenomenally well for me when I use an eyeshadow primer. I don't have overly watery eyes, so I feel like all of these eyeliners stay well for me all throughout the day, but I thought it would be fun to put these eyeliners through the ringer and let's really truly see which one is the best, which one holds up through the most extreme circumstances. Now, I have not yet done this test, so I personally don't even know which one is going to make it through all of these tests. So we're gonna find that out together, but I'm gonna put them through water test, through warm, salty tears test, through oil, with and without eyeshadow primer. So if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started having a little fun with our eyeliner experiment. All right, for starters, I am going to apply a little bit of Milani eyeshadow primer just to this half of my hand. I'm not going to apply a ton, but just a thin layer like I would do on my eyelid. All right, here are the 10 eyeliners that I'm going to be testing today. As you can probably tell, almost all of them are black. I did that on purpose because I thought for this test, I wanted to try and test black if I owned it in that particular liner. But as you can see, there are 3 that I do not own in black. And so I pulled out the darkest color I could find. The first one is the Stila Smudge Stick. I did this in Spice. This one is the Buxom. This is the Hold the Line pencil. This is dark brown. And then the other one is the Kiko Milano. This is the dual-ended pencil. I'm going to be testing out this one because it's a matte kind of, it's as dark as I have. It's a brown, kind of a matte cool tone brown, but all the rest are black. So I'm just going to go from top to bottom here. I'm going to draw a line from the left all the way across. So we'll have the part of my hand that has no primer and the part that has the primer. We're going to see as I swatch them. Well, I'm going to try to keep these lines straight, but we're going to see how they glide on, and then we're going to see how they wear. So first up, we have the Makeup Forever. This is the Aqua Resist color pencil, and this is the shade Graphite, which is black. And I'm going to try for the most part just to draw a solid line on this hand. I'm going to do something different on the other hand. Next up, we have the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil. I own this brand of pencil in just about every color. This is the shade 0. They do have the shade Perversion, but I am out of that one. So this is the next best thing. And again, I'm going to try to draw that as evenly as possible. Next up, we have the House Labs, and this is the Gel Kohl eyeliner, and it's in the shade Punk. Next up, we have the IT Cosmetics Superhero No Tug Gel Liner, again in black. Now we have the Stila Smudge Stick eyeliner, and this is in the shade Spice. Next is the Buxom Hold the Line, and the technical name of the shade is Here's My Number, but this is the dark kind of black brown. Next, we have the Lottie London AM to PM eyeliner in black. We're off to the drugstore now. Up next, Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pen, and this is in the shade Black Noir. Another one that I own multiple shades in. Now we have the Kiko Milano. This is the dual-ended pencil, and this is the shade, I think it's 01 is the, yes, 01. This is the silvery color on one end, but I'm gonna test out this kind of matte cool tone brown. Again, this is the darkest shade that I have. And then last but not least, we have the L'Oreal 16-Hour Carbon Black Infallible Never Fail Eyeliner. We're gonna really find out today if that is true. Okay, so in swatching them, you could see as I drew them on, they all went on super pigmented, except for this last one with L'Oreal. So I am going to go over that one just one more time. Make sure I give this one a fair shot. But all the rest of them glided on beautifully. Now, while these set, because I want these to have a full time to dry down, I do know for sure that the House Labs takes a little bit longer to dry down, but I'm gonna let these sit for sure. But on this hand, I'm gonna do just some short little swatches, and I'm gonna do finger smudge tests on this hand just to see how they smudge, if they smudge at all. So let me quickly add these to my right hand and then we'll do the smudge test. Okay, please forgive these swatches. They were drawn on with my left hand and I'm right-handed. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smudge these this way so that we can see more easily which one is smudging, if any of them do. Okay, first of all, we have the Makeup Forever Aqua Resist. And by the way, these have been sitting on my hand for about 3 minutes. So we had a slight little bit of a smudge there. All right, next we have the Urban Decay 24/7. Okay, a little smudge there. So from the smudge test, I would say the Buxom had 0 smudging, and the Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pen had, well, there might be just a hint of a smudge. The Kiko had 0 smudging. So Kiko and Buxom are the winner here after 3 minutes of time. Now I'm gonna let these sit for another 2 minutes and we'll see, we'll smudge this way and see if everything else has set down. Okay, these have sat on my hand for a few more minutes. So now let's just see by swiping this direction if any of them still smudge. And we are seeing a few. Okay, so in swiping that direction, I feel like we did not get any smudging from Stila. We did not get any smudging from the IT Cosmetics. A tiny little hint maybe of the Makeup Forever. And then again, the Kiko Milano, I don't feel like we had any smudging there. So now let's go back to our big test on this hand. These have all been sitting for about 10 minutes. So this should be long enough for us to test them with the rest of our tests. So first off, we're gonna just go with good old kind of room temperature, slightly cool water. So I'm going to spray down my hand. You can see the water is beaded on there, so it's totally soaked. I'm gonna spray it down one more time. And now we're going to just see by it sitting on there if anything starts to run. And then I'll get my fingers in there. We'll test to see if they're smudge proof or not, but I want that water to have an opportunity to soak in. All right, next I'm going to take my finger just on this outside edge. My finger is totally clean. And let's just see, okay, we're getting a little bit of some smudging and removal of a few of these liners. Okay, I have to say, kind of surprised by some of these. Okay, and then I'm gonna draw my finger up this direction. That's giving a better view. All right, so from here, When I went up this direction, I feel like it gave us a truer picture. So we can clearly see the Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pen, it did totally wipe off. The Buxom, which I'm really surprised, that one wiped off. The Stila wiped off. And we started to get a little bit of breakdown of the House Labs and the Urban Decay. But the Makeup Forever is hanging in there. And this fourth pencil, what would that be? That is the IT Cosmetics Superhero. That is holding in there very strongly. Okay, now on the side where we have the eyeshadow primer, I'm interested to see how this holds up as well. So I'm going to take my finger through the center. Look at what a difference an eyeshadow primer makes. So even though the Milani eyeshadow primer does not say it's waterproof, it in a way makes whatever you put on top of it at least water resistant. The only smudging we still have is the Stila smudge stick, ironically, right? That's the name. And then we have a little bit of smudging of Urban Decay and of the House Labs, but all the rest of these are holding in very well. Okay, I'm going to now just blot off my hand with that water. And now I want to conduct a tear test. So I just thought I would put a little bit of some salt, just a tiny little bit of salt in here. And then I'm gonna add warm water, not hot water, but just kind of warm, like the temperature tears would be. We can dissolve that salt in there. All right, now I'm going to go over the sink here and I'm going to pour this because we really have lost our test subject without the eyeshadow primer. I'm just going to pour it on this side here. Well, I'll pour it over the whole hand, but. All right, again, that was warm water, but not hot. And now let's see if that changes our results at all. I'm gonna let that sit for a moment. Obviously with tears, usually we're tapping off the water, trying not to smudge it, right? All right, now let's see, it's still damp on my hand. So now let's just see on the eyeshadow primed side if that changes the results at all. And it looks like we do. The Buxom is the only one that really seemed to have a little bit of wear down, like that pretty much took it off. So warm salty water on the Buxom, which is supposed to be a waterline pencil, that's clearly not holding up. The Urban Decay, we have just a tiny little smudge there, but I don't feel like it's, it's not wiping away. All of the rest of them seem to have held in there pretty well. So again, this is the eyeshadow primed side. Now, if we go over here, we have just a little bit of room left to see on this side with no eyeshadow primer. And oh my goodness, okay, the clear winner still is the IT Cosmetics Superhero Gel Liner. A close second would be 3-4. This is the Lottie London AM PM. That one is still holding in there very strongly as well. Okay, we're getting a clear winner. Now, the final test is oil. And this is, I don't anticipate really too many of them holding up with this, but I thought this would be a good test because we could maybe mimic the oils on your eyelid. And again, this is why it does make a difference when you use an eyeshadow primer. This keeps the oils on your eyelid from seeping through and breaking down the eyeliner. But I thought it would be a good test just to see, even with that eyeshadow primer and then what we have without, if any of these actually last with a little bit of oil. So I'm going to use, this is just almond oil. I feel like this is kind of a medium weight oil. It's not quite as heavy duty as coconut oil is. So I'm going to just lightly put this over the top. Let that sit for a moment. Okay, and then I'm going to dab off the excess. And then we are going to see how much breaks down, if anything. Okay, let's try the side without eyeshadow primer first. Okay, back and forth, back and forth. Oh my goodness. Okay, can you see still a nice solid line there? That's It Cosmetics. And even the Makeup Forever is holding on very strongly there as well. All right, on the side with the eyeshadow primer, let's just see if that makes any difference here. I'm gonna go back and forth a couple times, and it is hard to tell which ones have smudge, but this one clearly smudged. This is the L'Oreal Infallible. The Kiko Milano is actually hanging in there pretty strongly. Also, the Pixie and the Lottie London are doing pretty well. I have to say the Buxom and the Stila, those are not hanging in there quite as stellarly. The House Labs, we've got a little bit of smudging, and let's just see going this direction what happens. Let's see if we can break down any more of these. Okay, I feel like the two clear winners on the high end appear to be this fourth one, the first one, and then this one from the drugstore. Okay, let me clean off my hands and we'll wrap up this video. Look at that. Okay, if that's not a sign, what do we have? We've got three clear winners that are really struggling, that I'm struggling to get off with oil-based cleaner. Okay, are any of you shocked by this experiment? I have to say I was. I did not anticipate that these would be the finalists. Okay, now I was scrubbing at the end with baby wipes, Huggies wipes, because that actually does work pretty well, taking off the remainder of makeup. And you can see there are three eyeliners, even on the hand that had no eyeshadow primer. The same eyeliners are the ones that I'm struggling to get off. So let's start here at the bottom. Let's start down here. This one is the Kiko Milano Dual Ended Pencil. I had a sneaking suspicion this would be one of the top runners, because when I put this on the lower lash line in my inner rim, my waterline, I have to go in with coconut oil and a Q-tip to get the remainder off. So I had a suspicion this one might hang in there, and indeed it did, even on the hand without eyeshadow primer. Look how well that is hanging in there. Then next, even though the Lottie London did end up kind of wiping off finally with the oil, I still feel like the Lottie London AM to PM in black, I feel like this was one of the best. And this is also at the drugstore. Sometimes this can be a little difficult to find in a store, but online through the Lottie London website or Walmart, I'll link all of these down below. But the final top two, I think, are the Makeup Forever Aqua Resist Color Pencil. This was the top line. This hung in there like a champ. It did have a tiny little bit of smudging, so I feel like this one stays softer longer, so you can smudge it out. But once it's set down, even with the oils, the hot water, the tears, it lasted through it all. And then the number one pencil was the It Cosmetics Superhero Gel Liner, the No Tug. This not only is super easy to apply, it lives up to its No Tug name, but you can see right there, it hung in there through all of those tests. And even on the side that had no eyeshadow primer, all 4 of these hung in there very well. So as you saw in the test, it does help out if you put an eyeshadow primer down, even if you're not wearing eyeshadow. I've talked about this before. Always put a little bit of eyeshadow primer down along your upper lash line and along the lower lash line if you put liner there, and you will see an amazing difference in how any eyeliner wears. But in particular, if you're looking for the longest wearing eyeliner that lasts through it all, these are the 4 I would recommend. Be sure you check the description box below for a list and links to all of the liners that I tested, but in particular, the top 4 winners. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you found it helpful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.